Mark, about an hour after I talked to my mom, my brother called me and told me that she passed away. I believe in God, bro. And I think that reassured me that God is real. Because if I would have never talked to my mom, I probably wouldn't be here today, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. So, yeah.
Welcome into the podcast, another episode of Livin Large. Thank you guys so much for all the support on the recent episodes. Today's guest is an actor. He's Muhammad Ali in The Godfather of Harlem and Clay in the CW show All American. Welcome to the show, Derek Augustine.
Man, thanks for having me on Livin Large.
Dude, isn't it an awesome name?
Yeah, it is. I like
Livin
that.
Large.
Yeah.
I came up with it because there's LA in large.
We
live in LA,
yeah.
and I figure we interview people in LA.
Most definitely. Should we do the New Orleans? What's down, you hear me?
Yeah, you're from New Orleans,
Yeah.
and it's funny because whenever I hear you talk to people in New Orleans, you have a whole different dialect than people in LA.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Why is that?
When I go back home, my accent gets thicker. And when I come out here and when I'm around my friends like you, Pearson.
White boys?
No. Even with like Darius, you remember my homie Darius.
Yeah.
It just comes out, man. Because I think when I'm most comfortable and I'm around homies, like my true self comes out. So that's why when I'm with you up here, so I'm like, whoa, what's that, brother? And give y'all the dap, but it's just my New Orleans accent.
What does Wazam mean? What's up?
It
What's
just means
happening?
like, what's up? Like, what's up? How you doing? So it's like, Wazam, you heard me? And then like, you heard me is what we say after, something we say after a sentence. Like, you heard me, or we say baby.
What's the baby? You said it to girls? You said it to dudes too?
Nah, it's women. We say to women, like, what's up, baby? And it's just normal out there. It's like most visitors, when they come to New Orleans and they hear that, it's like, did he call me baby?
Mm-hmm.
But if you go, like, for instance, hypothetically, if you meet my auntie or my grandmother, you say, what's up? They'd be like, hey, baby, how you doing? They'll treat you like family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing about New Orleans culture. We treat people like family. So, yeah.
Well, how long did you live in New Orleans?
Man, born and raised. I left when I was 21, 22 to move to New York from the East, New Orleans East. My family's from the 7th Ward hardheads. It's like the light-skinned, pretty people.
Okay.
That's what I don't know why they call them hardheads, but that's what they call them. Born and raised in New Orleans. My mom is from Opelousas, Louisiana, which is like 3 hours away. And my father's side is from New Orleans. Actually, my mom and dad, they actually met at my university, my alma mater, University of New Orleans.
Okay.
That's how I came to be.
So you live and breathe New Orleans.
I do. I'm a huge Saints fan, Pelicans fan. I cook gumbo.
Yeah.
I know how to cook. My grandmother recipes, she taught me all that. Southern gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, good morals and values. And I think that's the blessing of being raised in the South. You know what I'm saying? That I have all these things that make Derek Augustine.
So were you impacted by Hurricane Katrina when you lived there?
Oh yeah, my family was impacted. We moved to Opelousas with our grandparents, and we had 7 feet of water in our house. And my uncle's house, he had 7 feet of water as well. And it displaced the family for a while. I know my uncle, they lived in San Diego and then moved to Atlanta. And I didn't come back until I graduated high school. So heavily impacted. Yeah, most definitely.
How did you guys recover from that? And what was it like there during that time?
Man, we went to this high school called Northwest High, and it was a culture shock, man. Because, we were city boys. I say we, I'm talking about my twin brother and I. Mm-hmm. And when we moved to Opelousas, it was very country.
Okay.
Very rural land. My grandparents lived on a farm. So it was a different environment, and it took me a while to get adjusted to it. But I don't know. I just had to do it, and just had to figure it out, and came back after I graduated high school.
So did you guys get displaced from your home, and then you had to move with your grandparents?
Yeah. My mother had real estate all throughout New Orleans, but actually she got sick prior to Hurricane Katrina, which is why we moved to New Orleans. My mom had a stroke. And we had to move to Opelousas with our grandparents because we had to take care of our mom, which was, man, it was tough, man. I always say I had a tough childhood, but it made me into the man I am. I mean, you know my story. So yeah, we moved when we were like 13. to Opelousas and then moved back when we were 18 after we graduated high school.
You talk about you had a tough childhood.
Yeah,
you lost
man.
your father when
Yep.
you were 3 years old.
Yeah.
And you lost your mother 10
When
years ago.
Yeah, I lost my mother when I was 23.
How did that impact your life?
You know, my father, I didn't know my father. And I mean, my whole being is because of that, I say. You know, it gave me this drive, this ambition to be the father in the future. I don't have kids now, to be the father that I wish I had. But also it put this hard shell around me that growing up in New Orleans in the 90s, man, it was tough, bro. You know, a lot of my family, I think I told you this, on my father's side, you know, we got a lot of cousins and uncles who were in the streets, and we got the sophisticated side of my family. So I could have went either way. I always say, man, there's no reason I should be here. I should be dead or in jail because I grew up without a father in New Orleans in not the greatest neighborhood, going to public schools. And I had cousins and other family members that, hey, you want to do this? Come ride with us. But I had a very strong black mother who was like, you're going to be on the right path. And she would discipline us. She taught us our core, values, our core being to be good men and to keep us on the right path.
How did you overcome the cousins and the other people pulling you in that other direction?
My mama.
Yeah.
My mom used to come out with us. Used to come out the house with a belt. Like, y'all better get y'all behinds in this house right now. And she just forced us to, stay in school. She forced us to strive to be the best we could be. And, she was heavily impacted on our friend group, the people we hung out with. And she always told us, if y'all go to jail, y'all gonna stay in jail. I'm not gonna come and get you guys. So what do y'all want? What do y'all want to do? So she gave us tutors. She made sure we were well tutored, well disciplined, and made sure that we stayed on the right path.
What made her so strong?
Man, I just think that her coming from Opelousas, where people really live in poverty, bro. My grandparents, they made their wealth by working on a farm. They would rent out farmland and grow crops, and that's how they made their money. And my mom was like, I want a better future for myself. So she studied hard in school, got a full scholarship to go to UNO. And then she would enter like the Army Reserve to help pay for other bills. And then she graduated and she lived her life to the fullest, man. So I think my mom, her ambition, her drive forced her to become the great woman that she was. But also, my grandparents raised her the right way as well.
What are some values you've taken away from your mom?
Man, my mother she was so beautiful, Mark, man. I wish she could be here so you can see her, man. I always say she gave me my looks. My father had, when we used to talk to her, she was like, your father had green eyes. That's the only way that I was attracted to him. But it was just playing. But, man, my mother taught me how to be a gentleman. She taught me how to be a leader, a provider, which is, we talked about this, man. It's hard to find men like us, especially in LA. But it's how we were raised, to be family oriented, to be leaders and providers, and honestly to be well-rounded, good men. And that's what my mother taught me. She taught me those values. She made us go to church. I'm a Catholic, but I go to non-denominational churches now because of my mom and my grandparents collectively. But that's the value she taught us, man, to stand on principle, to stand on your values and never change who you are. And one thing I've taken from her is that, honestly, bad things happen to good people, but good people don't let bad things change who they are.
I like that.
Yeah.
You lost your dad when you were 3. What did he pass from?
Man, should I? I've never told nobody this, bro. Honestly, like my close friends don't even know. My mother and father were in an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the process of getting a divorce. And my father went to the house when he wasn't supposed to. And my mother at the time she wasn't dating a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And my father went over there and the guy was there and they got into an altercation and my father got shot. And so that's how my father really passed away. And, during that time, growing up without a father, I had some resistance towards my mother, man, because I blamed her for him not being there. But I love my mother to death. But I think it was just an innate feeling that I didn't have a father there, and she was dating the guy that had the altercation with. So I blamed her a lot, but that's natural. That's innate. That's what you're gonna do when you're a kid. You know what I'm saying? So that's how my father passed away. But he, from hearing from my family members, he was a good man. Mm-hmm. He was very smart, very intuitive. He was an engineer. He had a hot head now. He had a little hot head because he was a short man. So I think that he had to fight to gain his presence to defend himself a lot. So, but yeah, that was my father.
When did your mother tell you about how your father passed? And how did you take it?
Yeah. My mom did a lot to defend my father. No, she didn't tell us about how the altercations they really had. They were in an abusive relationship emotionally and also physically. But, when you come into awareness of seeing other kids with their family together and you ask questions. So that's what my brother and I did. And she would always just say that, your father just him and I had some problems, and we got into a fight, and he passed away. But we later learned what really happened through another family member, and that's when we really started to question things about our mother and her character. But at the end of the day, man, our mom was a great, phenomenal woman, and she had to do what she had to do.
How did you overcome the resentment you had for your mom and build that relationship back up?
I think it was the love that I had for her. Mm-hmm. That everybody loves their mother, man. And as a boy, I think men have more love for their mothers than their fathers. Sometimes I don't know. That's what my homies tell me. But I loved her so much that I didn't really care what happened. It was in the past, and I think some people harp on the past so much that they can't live in the moment, live for the future. But for me, I wasn't raised like that, and I'm not that type of man. So of course I forgave my mother and moved forward. I think I was about 14, 15 when those troubled times of, the balance of relationships between my mother and I kind of hit. But, I always going to have love for my mom, man, always.
And when did your mom pass, and what did she pass away from?
My mother battled strokes.
Okay.
When she had her first one when I was 13, bro, I remember going to the hospital. My brother called 911. She was in her room, and she was like, come upstairs. She called for us. We went upstairs, and she was in a lot of pain. And she was like, rub my leg. I can't feel my leg. And my brother, picked up the phone and dialed 911. It felt like I was in a movie, man. It didn't feel real at all. I think it hit me when we went to see her in the hospital, and she didn't remember who we were after surgery.
Oh, wow.
And that's tough, man. As a teenager looking at your mom and she doesn't remember her own kids. It was a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak, man. And our lives changed, bro. It went a 180. Our mom was very successful. She owned like 3 or 4 businesses. She was doing real estate throughout New Orleans. But her downfall was, Mark, she didn't have health insurance. So when she got sick, she didn't have the best providers taking care of her. And the blood vessel burst again in her head. And that was it, man. She was paralyzed on her left side. She had speech impediment, memory loss. And it took a while for her to get back to a normal state. And, we had to take care of our mom. I remember like changing her clothes, cleaning her room. She couldn't care for herself, man. And that's a lot to put on a 14, 15-year-old child, to take care of the mom like that when they're trying to figure out who they are themselves. So, man, tough upbringing, man.
Yeah, you really did have a tough upbringing. And it is a miracle that you made it out of that, because you've been through so much and you were around that, and you could have been easily influenced by the other voices around you.
Yeah.
Where were you when your mom passed?
I was in New York, man. So backstory, I went to University of New Orleans where I studied theater. And as soon as I graduated, I moved to New York. But it was to pursue acting. And I remember after I graduated, my uncle sat me down and was like, Derek, I know you want to pursue acting, but you're going to have a real career. You don't have a mom, you don't have a dad. How are you going to pay for yourself? How are you going to build a future? Acting is not a real career path where you want to go into to build wealth. And he sat my twin brother and I down, and even my brother was like, you should quit. My uncle was like, you got to quit, get a real job. I said, no, sir. And I moved to New York the next day. So I was in New York working for an engineering firm, doing business development for them on the side. While I was pursuing acting, going to school, I was going to Negro Ensemble Company, where some of the greats went. And I went to William Esper. So I would leave work early to go to acting class and to go to auditions. And I would have to skip work sometimes. So after a year I was there, I remember I went into the office on a Sunday to do some work that I was behind because we had a big sales meeting coming up. So I think I went in that office like 7 a.m. Dude, I didn't leave until I think 8 or 9 p.m. And New Orleans is 2 or 3 hours below New York time. Yeah. So when I was leaving the office, something was like, call your mom. I was like, what is this voice in my head telling me to call my mom? Like, I'll call her another day. It's late. My mom was in a nursing home at the time. She didn't have a direct phone in her room. I would have to call the nurses, and the nurses weren't going to give her the phone and bring it to her at night. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm going to just call another day. So I'm driving home. The voice tells me again, call your mom. So I was like, okay. My brother was still in college at the time because he switched his major to engineering, so he had to do another year. So I was like, let me call my brother who lives in Lafayette, which is like an hour away from my mother lives. And I'm gonna just ask him how my mom's doing, if he's been there. Mark, I kid you not, man. I call my brother's phone and my mother answers the phone, bro. My brother happened to be there that night. I don't know how. So I talked to my mom. I'm crying. I'm bawling down, crying. I don't know why. Maybe because I haven't talked to her in a long time. It's been like 2 weeks since I talked to her. I'm busy. I was like 23, bro. You're busy. You just forget to call your family sometimes. So I'm talking to her. I'm crying, Mark, like a baby. She's like, Derek, why are you crying? I'm like, man, I'm sorry, Mom, in New York. I had to leave. I didn't want to leave you, but I had to pursue my dreams. She's like, I know, baby. Pursue your dreams. I want you to be happy. Mark, about an hour after I talked to my mom, my brother called me and told me that she passed away. I believe in God, bro. And I think that reassured me that God is real. Because if I would have never talked to my mom, I probably wouldn't be here today, bro. So I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. So, yeah.
Do you think having a twin brother helped you grow into the man you are today?
Oh yeah, we were very close, man. We talked
and grieve together.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We're very close, Mark. We talk every day. I was on the phone with him before we got here.
Yeah,
he is like my backbone.
Mm-hmm.
Being a twin is, is amazing, man. It's a phenomenon that is unexplained. I definitely do believe there's some type of telepathic thing that goes around in the twin community, because there's sometimes while I'm feeling down, he just called me, and
he just knows.
Yeah, he just knows, and he calls me at the right time, or vice versa. I'll call him at the right time, and I'm very proud of him, man. He's a very, very caring, loving individual. He's married now. They've been married for I think 2 or 3 years. They just bought a house, and he was a hothead growing up. He had the anger issues that my father had. He was an alcoholic in college, just on the brink of spiraling out. But he changed his ways, man, and I'm very proud of him, and of the man that he's become, given our background, because I think it's so rare that these 2 young men who came from adversity were raised and made it to the men that we are today.
Did you have friends that didn't make it out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. A lot of my friends from high school are either in jail or on the ground. I don't even talk to some of my friends that I was friends with in elementary school in New Orleans. I'm really close with my family members, my cousins. I have cousins who are a year or 2 years apart apart in age. We're really close, so I'm grateful for that. But I got uncles, cousins who have died from gun violence, from being in the streets in New Orleans, man. You can, like, if you go to New Orleans and ask about some of my family members, they'll be like, yeah, I know him. You don't mess with him.
When you go back, do you feel like resentment from them? And they're like, oh, you're too good for us. You went out to LA and you're a big actor now. Do you feel like that at all?
No, not at all. My family's very close.
I'm not saying from your family, but from people who didn't make it out?
No. I think.
Are they happy for you?
Yeah, I think they're happy because I think they all knew, especially the people I went to college with, they knew that I wanted more for myself and I wanted to pursue acting. So I think they're happy to see that somebody from New Orleans has made it. I haven't, come across anyone who's like a hater.
Yeah.
In layman's terms, right? I don't think so. No, I think everybody's pretty much happy that I've pursued a better life for myself.
What made you want to do acting? Because a kid from New Orleans with your upbringing, like, what a dream.
Bro, my mom forced us to do acting and modeling when we were a young age.
Because you're handsome?
No. Our mom was like, man, look, I got twin boys. Y'all gonna make me some money.
Okay.
So she used to make us model for JCPenney when we were younger. Dog, remember those thick JCPenney books?
Yeah.
We were in those, and we did their runway shows in New Orleans. And I think she said like an acting coach or an acting agent came to one of the shows and was like, you got to get your boys into acting. So, and after that happened, we did some plays. I remember the first play I did was The King and I fell in love with it, man. I'm like, I'm going to be an actor.
And your brother, what did he pursue?
Man, he wanted to be an actor as well, but when we were in college, man, he was like, bro, one of us got to get a real job if something happens to our mom. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he switched his major to engineering, and that was it, man. He's happy. He used to do aerospace technology. Now
he was in the military, right?
He was in the military. Now he does business analysis for a company in Arizona. Two totally different career paths, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What made you make the move out to Los Angeles?
Man, I had to, bro. I was working on a show in Atlanta called Notorious.
Okay.
And it was for ABC. I was in New York at the time living, and then the show moved here, and I moved with it, and the show got canceled.
No.
After the first season.
So you booked your first role when you were in New York?
I booked my first role when I was in New York. I was movie role.
Okay.
When I was in New York. I was like 22. It was a football movie called When the Game Stands Tall. Bro, I was supposed to give up and get this big monologue. I got up. Nothing came out my mouth.
On set?
On set, bro. I got up and they was like, okay, we're going to do it again. Thomas Carter was a director. He directed Coach Carter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he's a big time director.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I got let me get up again. Dude, mind you, I did multiple plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, it's a different type of pressure than theater and film is totally different, bro. So I got up again. Nothing came out. Got up one more time. Nothing came out again, bro. And they cut my scenes.
No.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
So you didn't even deliver it?
I didn't even deliver it, man. I was so nervous, and that was my first role, man. And it goes to show you how you progress over time.
Mm-hmm.
Once you master your craft. And like I said, I had to transition from theater to film, and it was one hell of a transition, bro.
You would think, I would think that theater is way more nerve-wracking. You have a live audience, you can't mess up.
I think once you grow up in theater, it's second nature.
Okay.
I don't get nervous no more when I'm doing theater, because, man, when you look into the audience, if you ever done a play before, bro, like the lights shine on you.
Yeah, you can't really see much.
You can't. Well, you can see, but it's like you just tune everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I did the last play I did. It was Thornton Wilder. It was Emily and what's that play? Anyway, it was Our Town by Thornton Wilder. I did it at Pasadena Playhouse, and Pearson was in the middle of the crowd, bro, and I had to get this big monologue. And I'm like, it's me and the lead girl on the stage. And I look out and I look at Pearson. He's laughing. Bro, I almost broke character, man. I had to look away. But no, when I'm doing theater, I don't get nervous, bro. It's just, I guess it was the pressure of, I finally made a transition. I want to be a movie star. I want to do TV. And the weight on my shoulders was just like, you're not ready yet, young brother. You got a lot to learn. So I don't know. It goes to show you, bro. When you want to master something, you just got to do the training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you were doing theater for a while. When did you make the transition finally? When did you book your first role in either TV or film, and what was it?
So that movie was the first movie I did, When the Game Stands Tall. Where they
But you didn't get in?
No, I didn't get in. I think my first TV role was either Vampire Diaries or this TV show I did in Atlanta called Saints and Sinners. It was like a soap opera thing I did. I think either one of those were my first real TV roles.
What was your role in Vampire Diaries?
Dude, I played this kid who was friends with Matt. His real name's Paul. His name on the show I think is Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And I let him into this college, but it was really his doppelganger, and he slaughters us all.
So you died.
I died. Oh yeah, I wanted to be a vampire.
How much did you make for that?
I mean, like SAG minimum for that. I don't know.
What is SAG minimum?
SAG minimum now is like $1,200, I believe. I think.
How many days on set were you?
I was only a day player.
So you made $1,200?
I made $1,200
to die.
To die, man.
Well, you've come a long way since then.
Yeah.
Talk about the Godfather of Harlem. You got to play Muhammad Ali. That's pretty freaking crazy.
Muhammad Ali. Let's see that.
And you worked with Forrest Whitaker on it.
Whitaker,
yeah?
Vincent D'Onofrio, some other big names. Jean Carlos, that's a good guy there. Let's see. I booked that role a couple years ago. That's probably my most favorite role I've done so far, man. Just because it's Muhammad Ali, you know, and it was a lot of pressure. You know, I had to learn how he talked, how he walked, his mannerisms, but you also have to bring your own uniqueness to it, right? It can't be like you're putting on a show. Mm-hmm. It has to be come across as normal, right? So the first day on set, I worked with Vincent D'Onofrio. Bro, I was so nervous. I was like, can I do this? Am I right for the role? You know, you have all these second guesses, but you just have to own it, man, and know that everything you've done before this led you up to that. So that's what I did, and I just had this calmness to it when I realized that I'm supposed to be here, and man, I just tackled it head on, man.
What did you learn from working with those guys?
Vincent was like a teacher on set. You know, I remember we was going through the scene, and he gave me some notes. I think he actually teaches classes in New York at Stellar Adler Studio, so that's why he's a teacher, and he's like that on set, which I love. You know, Of course, I'm a take heed to what a professional icon has to say. Forrest Whitaker, man, what can I not say about this dude? I mean, you know, he's an award-winning actor, and it was a pleasure working with him. Kind soul, very, very. He's a very good person, and it's like he makes a statement when he's there. You can feel his presence, and I admire that. But after we got done filming, I asked him for some advice, and he was like, I couldn't imagine anybody else playing that role. You were Muhammad Ali, and that just gave me this calm feeling that I'm at the right place at the right time.
What was the preparation like for that role? Were you just doing hours and hours of research, watching film, reading books? How did that look?
Yeah, reading books, watching YouTube of how he talked, how he walked. I went back to my training, my coach at William Esper Studios, and we went over the lines, and went to a dialect coach, and it was a lot of work, man. I did method acting for that. I stayed on in character doing when we were filming.
Like offset, you mean?
Oh yeah. Well, the days leading up, I would stay in character. Like the day before, I would be Muhammad Ali, talking like him. People would be like, "Why are you talking like that, man?" Like, yeah, cause Muhammad Ali had this country Kentucky twang to him, and that's what I did. That's how I talk. You know?
Did you feel like after the role finished? Because I know Ross Butler's been rocking the Elvis talk for dude, he still talks like Elvis. Did that have any impact on you?
No, because that accent was so country and thick. It was. Let's see if I can do it. Two-time Golden Glove champion, two-time AAU champion, 1960 gold medal winner in Rome. All those fights, and I'm still smooth. So I can't talk like that all the time.
Yeah.
Imagine me.
It's like a certain.
Imagine me and you talking right now. Yeah, I grew up. I'm not gonna talk like that, bro. But
how do you turn that on though? Because you don't have any. I mean, I guess you have stuff to mimic, but just get it out of your head and transition right there and then.
Yeah. It just. I mean, you just get out of it, you know. But some roles I can tell that some actors are really affected by that, like Heath Ledger, you know, with the Joker. But this Muhammad Ali thing was, I had to let it go. You know, it's a job. After you finish your job, I'm Derek Augustine, you know, above all. Yeah.
I can imagine you like the next day or the day before, like you said, you're like getting McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
Give me a cheeseburger with French fries. The 2-time.
I would definitely do that, man. Yeah. And just I would walk different. Like he had this like cocky walk to him and all that. But it worked. You know, it worked.
Well, how did you get that role, and what was that process like?
I was in San Francisco working on NBA 2K20. I was a lead character of NBA 2K20.
Where you had to wear the motion stuff?
Yeah, the mocap suit, the helmet with the camera like in your face. We just feel like this mic is just right here, right?
Well, you could pull it down if you want.
No, it's okay. But that was a whole different experience, man. I got to work with Idris Elba on that.
On 2K?
On NBA 2K20. He came in for a couple of days. I got to work with him. I got to work with Rosario Dawson. And Idris, man, he has a thick UK accent. I was like, hey, man, you got any advice for me? Every job I'm at, I always ask a real successful actor, what advice do you have for me? And when I asked him, he was like, hey, bro, listen, bro, you're working with me you just booked something, with Forrest Whitaker. You're going to be fine, I don't need to give you any advice here, fam. I was like, yeah, bro, thank you, man. But he was a good dude, man, very professional. He loved how I work because he comes from a theater background as well. I think every UK actor has a theater background. That's how they're raised out there, man. If you want to do acting, you got to do some theater. Shakespearean, thespians properly, which I appreciate that because I come from a thespian background. But I was on 2K, NBA 2K working on that, and I got the audition from Vicky Thomas, who was a very profound, great casting director. And the audition came in, I was like, what, Muhammad Ali? Cassius Clay? I'm booking this. So I had to do a self-tape because I was in, this was pre-COVID. So
you just said that Idris said you just booked the role.
Well, that's when, I asked him for advice after I learned how I booked it, right? So I was still on set when I booked it. He came after that.
Got it.
So I had to do a self-tape, submitted it. I was like, let's see if I hear something back. I got a call back, and I did a producer session with Chris Brocato, who's the EP of Godfather Harlem. He also did a really good show on Netflix. So I had a producer session with him. He gave me some notes, and I had to go back for another producing session. And I got the call the next day that I booked it, man. I started crying. I was like, man, thank you, God. And that was it. You know, I was on set right after I finished NBA 2K, I was on set for Godfather.
How did you book the NBA 2K role? Because that's a very interesting role because you yourself aren't in it. It's a motion capture of your face and your voice.
Man, no.
And what was that like?
It was like a real acting role. They treated it like a real acting role. I booked it. It was like a regular audition. We got sides, and the director was there for the producer for the callback, and he gave me notes and treat like a regular audition, a regular director session, and I booked it like the next week. And I was on a plane the week after. No, we did rehearsals for like a month, and then I was on a plane. And it was a really good situation because LeBron James's production company produced NBA 2K20 alongside of 2K, which was so dope, man. I got to meet his producing partners.
Maverick Carter.
I got to meet Mav. Me and him did a scene together. Really good guy, business oriented, and I didn't meet LeBron, but I wanted to. I wanted to work with him, but I didn't get a chance to work with him. But it was a cool experience, man. But like I said, we had the motion capture suit. You're in this big stage, like auditorium looking stage with cameras everywhere, and you got directors on set. You got producers on set. The director. It was really like shooting a real movie or a real TV show, but you're in the open space with this suit on. You know
was it weird wearing the motion capture? Because I've seen like the videos of that one guy that plays like King Kong or whatever, and he's like, they have like these weird, I mean, that's different because it's a video game. Did you have to overexpress or anything like that, or just be normal?
No, I was just normal. Just normal, but it is weird having the suit on. You know what I'm saying? And like a makeshift style set with like cardboard everywhere with these motion capture buttons on it. That was the only kind of weird thing about it. But it was, like I said, it was a very cool production, and shoot it like they shoot Avatar. It's pretty much the same thing. When I had to do a pickup scene in LA, they use the same studio that they shoot Avatar, which is so cool. Yeah.
That's insane. So you do Godfather Harlem, you do 2K. How'd you get the All-American role?
All-American, I think we have a brilliant showrunner. Her name is NK. I think she probably saw me from Godfather Harlem because she switched my character name to Clay. My character name is Clay on
Cassius Clay.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't talk to her about that, so don't quote me on that, but I think she saw me on Godfather Harlem. But I just got an audition and from Leah Daniels Butler, who's another profound, great casting director. And I got a call back a couple of days after that, and I was on set 2 weeks after the audition, man. You know, acting is, unless you're a big time name, like people in my category who are big names, like Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors before he got in all that mess, you have to audition. Everybody's auditioning, bro. I can tell you that much. So, you know, you might be up against 200-300 people here, 100 people in the UK, another 50 from Australia. It's a dog-eat-dog world, bro. That's why it's so hard to be successful in this industry. And I applaud everyone who makes it because I know how hard it is firsthand.
How important it seems like they're important are the relationships, because it seems like you said something about the producer of Godfather Harlem got you something else, and then now this person.
Yeah. Once you do good work, I believe it's all relationship based as far as if you see something that someone's working on that you worked on before, you can call them up, be like, hey, I want to audition for your project. I don't want to hand me out. Just let me audition. Let me get a producer session. I want to prove that I'm right for this role. So relationships are very, very important. That's why I always try to do the best I can, and I'm always the best person as far as like I carry myself very well on set because who you are on set determines your future roles or your future outcomes. That's why you got to maintain great relationships, be on your A game on set, you know, be easy to work with, because once you're easy to work with, people gonna bring you back. All right, a lot of young actors don't have that mentality. That's why a lot of these actors who you see are successful fizzle out because they didn't maintain great relationships.
Yeah, you always hear stories about some certain people on set, and they're just man. Oh, that guy's a dick. He's so hard to work with. He's
people not gonna want to work with that, bro. You know.
What's it like? Because All-American, you're in your 30s.
Yeah,
and you're playing like a 20-year-old.
Bro, yeah, I play a 21-year-old, and I tell you what, those fans are ruthless. Because I think I was 20 at the time when I was dating the girl. Layla was 18 in high school.
Oh, on set?
Yes, yeah, on set. But she's my age in real life.
Oh, she's in her 30s playing an 18-year-old?
Yeah. She would tell you she expresses her age all the time, so I'm not gonna get banned. She's not gonna be mad at me, but she's in her 30s. Very sweet girl. Pleasure working with her. Her name is Greta. She's super cool, but her fans love her. And when I came in, they hated me, bro, because they wanted her and the guy Michael on the show to be a couple, and I came in and was like, nah, that's my girl. But I said to say, she was 18 in high school and my character was 20, and they didn't like that at all. But I wasn't dating her when she was in high school. After she graduated, that's when we started like really dating and on the show. The show. Yeah. But yeah, I was 30 and I play a 20-year-old, which is crazy. Yeah.
Does that translate over to real life? Like, do people come up to you and
all the time, man?
They're like, why the fuck are you dating Layla? Whatever.
No, not like that. On Twitter, they say that. But in real life, people will just be like, oh, that dude All-American, Clay, used to have braids. And yeah. And they get my twin brother all the time. They stop him all the time, dude. And he would call me like, please tell this person I'm not you. And flip the phone like, oh, sure, you do got a twin brother. It happens all the time. So, All-American.
That's actually hilarious.
It is hilarious. And I tell my brother, Tom, be on the lookout. It's going to happen a lot more as I progress in my career.
Yeah, as you get bigger, he's going to get recognized, and people are like, dude, you're Derek.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not. But then they're going to be like.
Yeah. He does. He FaceTimes me all the time. Like, they don't believe me that I have a twin brother. I'm like, yeah, that's me on All-American. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And it only happened with All-American. Godfather Harlem, I don't know. If it was on like a bigger platform, I think the show would have blown up by now. But, it started out on Epix and then it moved to MGM Plus. But I think it was on Amazon or Hulu as well. But, man, if it was on like HBO or Netflix, man, but I look totally different on that show. shaved. I got my hair froed out, and I look like Muhammad Ali. I was tanning for that.
Really?
Yeah, I've gained like 15 pounds of muscle, doing 2-a-days, eating. I was going in for that role.
Do they fund that training and that
No.
eating? You have to fund it yourself?
They did give me boxing training. They fund that.
Okay.
But for like a month and a half. But everything else, I was like, I have to do this to become Muhammad Ali.
Did they require you?
I mean,
or they think you looked fine?
Well, for the audition, I was
Well, you're in great shape.
great shape, but man, I really got in good shape when we started filming, bro.
And that was your choice?
That was my choice. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's determination to the role.
Yeah.
And it pays off.
But if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, right?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I gotta get ready.
You got to get ready, yeah.
With any of your acting roles, I mean, I'm sure you did. Did you do romantic scenes in All American?
Yeah. We did. It's nothing like crazy, but
Yeah.
it's like, it's CW.
Yeah.
So it's like kissing stuff. And my character, Clay, I think really, not love, but I think he really was emotionally attached to Layla. And he really, really wanted to be in a relationship with her, but she didn't reciprocate that type of feeling. So he felt some type of way. And my acting, personally, I use substitution method. So I've been training with Ivana Chubbuck for the last 3 or 4 years. She is the best acting coach I've had in my life, Mark. I mean, I've went to drama school, University of New Orleans. I studied at William Esper, Susan Baston. I took classes over there. The list goes on and on. But Ivana Chubbuck, man, she's a beast. I really feel like now I have a structure of how to break a script down, how to approach acting, how to approach a character, and it's all from her. So she uses the substitution method. So you use personal things you've been through in your life, like adversity, turmoil, love, relationships, platonic and very, very profound romantic relationships. So you use those things in your life, and you use it in your acting work, and it works for me. So I say all that to say, I was using substitution for my character with Clay and Layla, and I was using my mom for Layla. So that's what that profound relationship that we were butting heads is because of my acting.
You just drew from the past, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
History
really
from
cool.
the past and how I use it in my acting technique.
So when you're on set, how do you keep it professional? Because you have this romantic relationship. You're seeing this person every day. You're dating on the show. How do you prevent that from spilling over into real life, like the Brad and Angelina story?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I think, so I'm a professional and I come to work as a professional, bro. And especially for me, I'm very cognizant of my relationships between my coworkers and I. And especially working with women, I want to make sure they're as comfortable as they can be. Maybe that's because I'm a mama's boy and was raised by a single woman. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure they are as comfortable as they can be around my presence. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very cognizant of how I act, how I make sure not to mix pleasure with business, if that makes any sense. Because I don't want my name to get tarnished. You just never know, man, how things can get misconstrued. So I make sure that they are as comfortable as possible, and I let them know that, hey, I'm here to work. I'm not here to make relationships. We can be cool, we can be friends, but I want to make sure you're comfortable. I'm comfortable. Are you cool with me doing this? And usually they're professional too. Like, yes, I am comfortable. You can touch me, you can kiss me. But even when it's like a beautiful woman, you just got to know that I'm here to work. I'm not here to just not for pleasure. Mm-hmm. I'm a professional, and I have to be a professional. I have to stay in this professional environment.
Do you set those boundaries and have talks with like producers prior to?
No, because I think they know that.
Okay.
That he knows what it is. When I show up to set, they know that I have this backtrack of being somebody good to work with.
But I'm saying, do you preface the lady and you're like, hey, just so you know, nothing's happening?
Okay. I mean, sometimes it naturally happens. You might be attracted to someone, but you do that offset. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully, man, if I'm dating someone seriously, I'm not gonna, entwine myself with someone else I'm working with, if that makes sense. So,
have you been in a relationship and had a role where you had a romantic relationship on camera?
No, not yet. Not yet. Yeah, not yet. I think all the roles I've had when I was in a relationship, it wasn't romantic.
Okay.
So, but I'm sure if I was dating someone serious, and I would have a coworker who is interested in me, I would set those boundaries. Like, hey, You're hot. I'm hot. I know. But I have a girlfriend, and we can't take it that way. You know, we can't move forward in this. This is all for a show.
Are you prepared for that to happen? Because I'm sure you're going to get roles.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to be in a relationship or maybe married one day, and you're on set. Maybe you have a romantic scene with someone.
Yeah.
Are you like? Would you do it? Like, are you going to let your personal life affect your business? And how are you going to manage that in a relationship?
Not. Yeah. I hope not. I've changed. I'm sure you saw how I as a person have changed throughout my years. I was a savage. Yeah. I'm not a savage no more, Mark. Yeah. And I think that came through growth and maturity, through age. And man, I've lived that life, man. In college, I had my fun in college. I had fun in LA when I first moved here in my 20s. I'm 30 now, man. I'm in my 30s. Like I'm a different man. So I hope that my maturity level is at a point where if temptation arises, that I can say no. So come on, tempt me. We'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, acting aside, you've had an amazing career so far, and I can't wait to see what you do. Yeah. But you're working on a personal project right now. You just told me that you wrote a 400-something page book. Yeah. 100,000 words.
Yes.
What is it? Why did you write? That is insane.
Bro, it's insane when you think about it, especially because it took me 6 years to write this book. Well, 5 years, I think, and another year of editing. And I thought writing the book was hard. No, the year of editing was the hardest. I swear to you, man. But yeah, so I wrote a book. It's a YA fantasy, a young adult fantasy. It's a fiction. It's about wizards in New Orleans. Bro, it's a lot, man. And I submitted the final copy to my editor last week, and it feels like a giant weight is off my back. I wrote this thing because I'm an adamant reader. I like to read. I read at least a book a month. And when I was a kid, my favorite genre was YA fantasy. I like Harry Potter or the other YA books that I read. And I always wondered why I didn't see, minorities represented in these YA fantasy books that were very, very successful. And when I got to college, I had to do like a writing assignment, and my novel was like a part of the novel was one of those writing assignments, and I just built on it. And when I moved to LA, I was like, let me finish this novel, man. So I was going to a writing class every Monday, and we had to bring in at least 3 pages for a critique. And through those 2 years I was there, I got closer and closer to finishing it, and then COVID hit. Boom. Get nothing but the time, right? And I finished it during COVID, and then a strike hit. Yeah. And then that gave me time to work on the final edit. But man, yeah, 5 or 6 years. 5 or 6 years.
That's a grind. How do you stay committed to such a project for so long?
Man, I did that without taking mushrooms, without, any type of added drugs or anything. Yeah. I just all natural, man. Just, tea, maybe some coffee. But man, I can't really explain how profound it was to think of these storylines, these characters. It's mind-boggling how the imagination works, Mark. Once you just like writing music or anything like that, you just fall into this deep trap of where's my mind going, right? Into this deep abyss, and it's beautiful. These characters I came up with, these storylines I came up with, and it all came from thought, from imagination. But also the lead character, her name is Dohner Marie, which is my mother's name. And Dohner Marie is a representation of some of the stuff I had to deal with as a teenager. And as a teenager, I always wished that I had an escape route. Like I always wished I was going to go to this magical land and just escape my current reality of my mom being sick, of me changing my mom's clothes, of me not having a father, of me not having the things I wish I had. I saw other kids like having. Like if me and you went to if I would have went to your high school, and if I would have saw your family picking you up, I would have looked at you like this, probably crying like, I wish I had that life. I wish my mom could pick me up from soccer or basketball. I wish I could just enjoy a sandwich with my mother. That's hard, Mark, for a 14-year-old kid to have that yearning.
And we take it for granted.
Take stuff for granted, man. Yeah. That's why I tell all my friends all the time, man, call your mom, call your dad, And I'm so happy when I see Pearson on the farm with his parents, because you can't take that stuff for granted, bro. Like I did. Like my mom, I thought my mom was gonna be here forever. I thought that I was gonna make these millions, and I was gonna give my mom the help that she desperately needed. And my mom, like Donna Marie in the book, she goes through those same obstacles. Her mom is in a nursing home. Her mom had a stroke, and she wants to get her mom out of that nursing home. And her powers, she comes from this powerful bloodline of wizards, and she gets to go to this wizard school in New Orleans to learn how to control her wizards and her wizard powers. And she learns that she actually comes from the highest bloodline, like this powerful bloodline that the wizard who originally had these powers they thought was killed off and didn't have any kids, but he did. He had this descendants of kids, and she's the last descendant, or she thinks she's the last descendant. I can't really say who else was a part of this. Yeah, I can't give it away. But she get these powers, and she feels empowered. She gets this confidence back, right? That she desperately needed, and she saves the world. Yeah. And
so what's next for the book? When does it come out?
So it's with the editor right now. I know,
making.
Bro, it's been 6 years in the making, but everything that you want to accomplish, unfortunately, it takes time, bro. It's like fine wine or jewelry. Diamonds takes time to a natural diamond takes time to form, right? So the book is with the editor right now. I should get it back within a few more weeks. And then my literary agent and I will go into proposal for publication with the big 5 publishers. That's the overall goal, is to sign with a big publisher, one of the big 5s, and like Little Brown or the others, and to get it in production with them, and then hopefully sell the TV or film rights to a big production studio, and I sit back as a producer on set looking at my baby getting produced. That's the overall goal with Nolans. That's the name of the book, Nolans.
I'm really excited for it because I mean I've been friends with you for so long, but you've never opened up to the level you've opened up with me. Yeah. And if this book's any replication of like your life and the struggles that you've been through, I'm excited to read it. Yeah. And I hope the viewers are too. And I hope it gets made.
Yeah, I hope it does.
I know it's still early, but that'd be incredible. You talked about your mom. Mm-hmm. And I want to touch on one more thing with her.
Yeah, go ahead.
How did you use your mother's death as motivation as opposed to falling down the bad path?
That's a great question, man. Because I think a lot of people would take adversity like that and fall down. Mm-hmm. I recently listened to a podcast with 50 Cent, and he talks about depression. And he says some people don't have he says like depression is for people who grew up like him and I, we don't have the time or the money to think about depression. Does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. Like if we go into this depressed state, who's gonna take care of us? Mm-hmm. I don't have a family, Mark. I have my uncles, my aunts, my grandmother. If I would have failed, I had nothing to pick me back up. I couldn't go to my mom's house and, hey, Mom, can I just sleep on the couch or in my room growing up for a year while I go through this? I didn't have that, man. I didn't have a father be like, yeah, you just take the spare room. I think that if you would fall flat on your face right now and would have to go back home, your parents would openly welcome you back, right? Mm-hmm. Here, take the room, whatever. Mi casa, su casa. It's like being back home. It's be great. Mark, I don't have that luxury, man. If I right now would fall flat on my face, where would I would be homeless. Like some of these people, walk right here. That would be me. Mm-hmm. But I would have friends that would help me, like Pearson, you, Darius. But it's not the same. It's not the same as a family. Mm-hmm. And I say that word as I'm not talking about your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your brother. I'm talking about your parents. I never had that luxury. So I think that notion made me not drink, not smoke, not take up drugs, not fall into a deep depressed state, because I knew that I didn't have the luxury. That's what 50 Cent said. Depressed people, I don't have the luxury to feel depressed because I got to keep on going for my family's sake, for my sake, for my sanity. So I think, man, I'm so blessed that God gave me like my personality, my will to be here, my drive, my ambition, my values, because that's why I'm still here talking to you right now. Like I told you, bro, I should be dead or in jail. Honest to God truth. Black man in New Orleans with no father, sick mom, family members who are in the streets. I could have easily spiraled down, but I didn't, bro. You heard me?
You heard
That's
me?
why I'm here. So I would say my will is what didn't allow me to fall into a deep abyss. I mean, I cried, bro. It's my mom. I love my mom. My mom to this day is still my why. And it was hard, bro. I cried myself to sleep for months. Getting up and going to work, crying. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Putting on this face of I'm happy, but I am hurt. I'm hurt. I'm petrified because I don't know what's next in my life. I took a year off acting. If you look my IMDb up, it's a year gap because I was hurt, man. I went to therapy. I had to because that was the first time in my life I felt anxiety. Bro, I never knew what anxiety was. Bro, if you go in the black community and you tell your parents, I got anxiety your ass in them dishes. That's what they're going to tell you. That's what my mom would have told me. Anxiety your ass in them dishes. Depress your ass in them dishes. I don't have time. I can't pay for counseling. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's a luxury I didn't have, Mark, but by God's grace and also my will that he provided for me was my way of getting myself out that rut. And I did. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that I had to work hard to be the father to my future kids that I didn't have. That's what keeps me going. And that's why I work so hard, man. Like I said, my mother instilled like this leader provider mentality. She used to always say, man, I'm sorry for saying this out loud, but she was like, Derek, to keep a good woman, you got to have a lot of money and you got to throw down some good D. So go make you some money. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's what keeps me going, bro.
Dude, I mean, this has hands down been one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done.
Oh, man, I appreciate it.
I didn't know the level of pain you've been through.
Yeah.
And it is really eye-opening, and I hope some of the viewers can take away from it because stuff that you just said, dude, like people like me take it for granted.
Yeah.
And to hear your story, to be able to appreciate the fact that, yeah, if I do fail here, I can call my mom and dad and go back home and they'll take care of me.
Yeah.
And that's a luxury. And you don't have that luxury.
I have to succeed for my sake and my future family's sake. And also, Mark, you know, a lot of people, when they see me, you see how I act, man. I'm very confident. Mm-hmm. I'm confident. I walk with my head high. It's because I've been through so much, man. And my crown fell. My crown fell when my mom passed away. And I picked that crown up and I put it back on my head, and it's not gonna fall again. So people look at me, oh, he's cocky, he's wooty woo. No, it's because of what I've been through. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what I've been through, but you judge me because of the way I look, because of the way I carry myself. But if people really know what I've been through, man, they'll be like, I don't know how he's walking like this. I don't know how he's still here.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm going to take a lot from this podcast. Seriously. Like, you made me realize that I need to make some changes in my own life and get that motivation and just keep fighting.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
We all do, man. I think, man, life has its ebbs and flows, man. We have our ups and downs. And I always say, man, you know, sometimes God, he puts his toughest warriors to battle for him, man. Like I always say, man, who else but me? God recommended me because he knew that the devil couldn't break me. So I said to say, I should have broke when my mom died, but I kept my shield high. I kept my sword sharp when my father passed away. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And just like Job in the Bible, he kept going when the devil tempted him. And then the reward that he reaped after those shortcomings, it was abyss, bro. And I know that my reward is coming, man, because I kept my shield high, I kept my sword sharp.
I hope so too, and I hope the book takes off, man.
I hope it does too, man. That's a lot of work.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Put this Derek's links in the description. I hope you guys learned something from this podcast because this was honestly one of the best conversations I've ever had, and I was just expecting to talk about fucking football and
we can't talk about football,
Cassius
man.
Clay.
My Saints are horrible right now, bro. But you know what? I'm a diehard Saints fan. I'm from New Orleans. I say in New Orleans we fight. our family might fight during the week, but on Sundays we watch the Saints and we eat some gumbo, man, and come together.
Who they?
Who that? Who they is the Bengals. They stole it from us.
Oh, fuck, my bad.
It's who that.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and we'll see you next time.
We are.